Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cast Me Outside with me, your host, Aaron Scholl. Today's date is March 5th, 2025. Hope you're all doing well. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Aaron. This is my podcast. It functions basically like a video journal where I discuss my life and things that are interesting to me. And then after that, we'll usually go into some advice. So it's a fun hang. I hope you enjoy the show. We'll just get right into it. I don't know how this episode's going to shake up. I just woke up from a nap and I was a little groggy, but I've bounced back. That was about 30 minutes ago, so I'm back. I had a little bit of food. I had a little bit of coffee. I got stuff I want to do today with the rest of my day. I want to go to the gym. This is going to be the end of a 2-week gym challenge. I'll just put that all in quotes because it's so stupid. The gym challenge. I'm challenging myself to go to the gym. But yeah, I had like a kind of arbitrary goal to go to the gym every other day for 2 weeks and take creatine every day. I missed one day of creatine, so I'll take that into the 15th day, and I might try and keep the every other day gym thing up because I have been feeling good. I've kind of got past some of the extreme soreness. I mean, I'm still sore after a workout, which is normal. But yeah, I'm getting a little bit into shape. I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to run a marathon. I ran a half marathon last year. There's a part of me that wants to run like the Austin Marathon. Move to Austin, run their marathon, and then in that, I will have, reached the next phase of my life. Let that be like a symbolic initiation ritual to a new town, a new life, and just a new version of my reality. Man, someone brought up some politics at work, and I was like, I've been so out of the politic loop. It was so crazy to see how it affected me. So basically, he said like Canada was upset over trade stuff. Then they were posturing. And it's scary to think about Canada posturing because we do know Canada has a good relationship with China, at least it seems. There was some like fear-mongering news that Chinese troops were training in Canada a couple of years ago. Or Canada was training Chinese troops. I don't know if that's just fear-mongering nonsense. But, as far as things happening that you wouldn't expect, like the kind of weird socio-political, like kind of collapsing in on yourself. It's something you wouldn't expect. It's like, oh, we'd piss off Canada, and then because Canada has loyalties there, now we have an enemy to the north, which would be wild and crazy, and that's just like my kind of kooky, paranoid mind. That's kind of where it goes to. But just hearing the news and stuff, it was probably best described as like triggering almost. I had like a bit of an emotional response to it, and I think that kind of just shows how far deep I was into like the news cycle and like kind of like being updated all the time and paying attention to the latest bombshell or whatever round of political shenanigans. Because like the second like a little bit of that anxiety news gets back into my head, just the feelings are reacted. Just the feelings just happen. There's just like a classically conditioned sort of like experience or something. So I don't know. But then of course after 30 minutes I kind of was able to forget about it, and I don't know, someone said it really funny that it's like literally the South Park movie coming to life. We're going to be doing Blame Canada. And then something else on the note of Canada being upset at us. I was watching the Boys Cast, and those guys are from Canada. Ryan Long and Danny Polachuk, and they said they were up in Canada recently, and people are mad at America there, so they're not calling it Americanos, which is like a watered down espresso. It's a coffee drink. They're not calling it Americanos. They're calling them Canadianos or something like cheesy. And that made me kind of think of like freedom fries. Like we were mad at France for not supporting us in the Iraq war or something. I don't know, in the Middle East. So we weren't going to call them French fries. We were going to call them freedom fries. And then for this, like, it's not a war yet, but it's like, that like, it's like the corniest, weirdest, like, kind of division of people. And it's just funny to see it happen. Like, it's just funny to see, like, the same pattern happen so blatantly. Like, the changing of a term or a thing that has the country that you're mad at. Like, it just makes me wonder if that's, like, a sign of real hostility. I guess it wasn't a sign of real hostility with France, right? So maybe it is just like a little bit of a tool, just like a lame talking point, or just a little wedge of division. I don't know what it is, but it is something that stood out to me, that pattern of changing the food name. And then also reminded me of like something someone said, I don't know who, and this is like pretty out there and like kooky to say, but fear-based mind control. Sometimes, like, if I really think the news is just designed, like if like certain news is just designed to make you scared, inactive, scared. I don't know. I forget what people say about fear. It's definitely not the right. I don't know. Fear has, obviously it has a time and a place, but this fear that's triggered by like these huge institutions that like enforce these narratives, and then fear that like, how many things were you worried about, if you're ever worried about things on the news? Like, how many of those things were you worried about even the next day? It's like just little shots of fear, shots of anxiety. And, at least I got hooked to it. There was a time where I was watching a lot of like political, anxious, like bad vibe stuff. So yeah, okay. I had a little discussion about that with myself right there. I think coming to the conclusion that nothing happened with the French fries things. It probably is just all like silly posturing, talking points, like a little bit of a wedge, but it's not like some actual sign of impending conflict. I think that's kind of what I thought. I was like, what if this was like an actual sign that shit was about to hit the fan? Okay, I don't know how we got on to Canada, the Canada-America war. Oh my god. So it'd be so sad. I'd just say, put down your weapons. Let's all eat our, every type of bacon is good, man. All bacon is good. Even bacon that's just ham. You hosers. All bacon is good. We like Justin Bieber like does the mediations. He's like, he represents both sides. He's like, okay, yeah, gym. But yeah, I'm doing it. I did it. I worked out 7. I'm going to have worked out 7 of the last 14 days, and my body feels a little different. I need to thinking about my posture and everything. Like, how do I want to present to the world? I know that's kind of like addressing the symptom, but as far as like posture and eye contact and stuff like that, I think it's okay to fake it till you make it with that, while you kind of build your self-confidence or your repertoire or your reputation with yourself. I'm going to have to, when I picked 2 weeks, and I picked 2 weeks because apparently that's about how long it takes for your muscles to kind of load up the creatine. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going to load up with creatine. That's going to give my physique a bit of a change, and I'm going to go to the gym. So at least I'm going to feel the change. So I was just kind of thinking that would be a good motivator. Like, be consistent for 2 weeks, take the creatine, and see a little bit of change. And it's like, oh, there you go. Now you're motivated because your physique is under there. It's there. It's a figure that's becoming slightly more focused. Oh my god, crazy open mic last night. This open mic 3 times in an empty ass room. Some woman will take her tits out 3 times. I mean, it's the most of any mic around. I don't know why I was gonna say it's not that much, but no, it's a lot. And this chick was freaking fun. Fun. I'm gonna give you a fake name, Fun. I do not want you to have. We can have fun, but I do not want you to have a way of finding me after we're done having fun. No, I don't know. It's scary to think that you're you would want something so bad that you would invite such a clearly, I don't want to say toxic force, but a force of a chaotic force into your life just for a little bit of pleasure. But okay, so this chick, I overhear her conversation. She's there's 2 couples. One couple's on their second date. That's the one with the crazy chick, and another couple's on their first date. They just seem like pretty normal people. Actually, I'm telling myself a story about that too, because so it was some guy from Myanmar was dating this black chick, and it was their first date. And when she left, she was like, he's going to drive me 3 hours home. She was like, she picked me up. We went to Hershey, and she listed 5 things that they did that day, a Tuesday. And then she's like, now we're at comedy and he's going to drive me 3 hours home. And there's part of my mind that's that is insane. I hope everything was good. They said they met on Facebook dating. So, well, a crazy all day date where you're driving 6+ hours. What is going on there? But okay, whatever. That's not the fun chick. The fun chick, I overhear their conversation. She was like, oh, and then the boyfriend was like, and then I walked in to her in the bathroom bleaching her butthole. And I don't know, it was just wild. I was just like, what is going on? I looked at a comedian next to me and I'm like, what the fuck? And but whatever, as the night goes on, we kind of get to learn it was their second date, and she's just freaking so much fun. She was talking about how much she loved anal. And then she was like, I have a tattoo of a butt plug. And this came out when I was on stage. So I was like, okay, let's see the tattoo. And she pulls it up. It's on her inner thigh. And it's a butt plug. And she goes, I tell my kid it's a wine cork. Pretty funny. Also kind of a little bit whoa, what the fuck? But whatever, we keep going. And then we find out, that this is their second date, and their last date, she was trying to blow him in the movie theater, but I guess he got uncomfortable because it was a crowded ass movie theater. And then so I was like, okay. And at this point, every comedian's going on stage being like, "You're fun," to the girl, you should run to the guy. So yeah, so whatever, as far as rowdy audience members go, they were at least they were interactive, but not completely disrespectful. So they were. It was a fun time. But yeah, we find out about the movie theater, and then she goes, I didn't know what race my baby was. I didn't know if it was black or Asian. So I got a DNA test. And she never told us if it was black or Asian, but she's like, I got a DNA test because I got pregnant during a 6-man gangbang. So this lady is just a lot of fun. And then okay, it's whatever. The last comedian goes up. He brings up that's Mardi Gras. And, in the back of my mind, it was we could just ask this girl and she'll probably show us her boobs. It's if that's what we wanted. But it was Mardi Gras, and then he was like, "Oh," and she was like, "How do you get up on stage?" And she was like, "Who do I like? How do you get up on stage?" And started like gesturing blowjobs. You don't have to blow anybody to get on an open mic, lady. You need to know how to spell your name, or a name, not, and remember that was the name you put down. And he goes, "You just gotta sign up." She's like, "I'm gonna squirt my titty milk on stage." And then he was like, "You could do whatever you want." And then she took out her titty and started trying to milk herself. And then she tasted it and said it tasted like cantaloupe. And that was the wild chick at the open mic. And I don't know, I was thinking about it, and I was like, the world is such a weird place. Do you ever think the world's like just showing you things? It's like, is this the type of like woman you want in your life, Aaron? It's like, obviously not. It's like, I don't know why I'm thinking too much, but it is just eye opening. It's like, there is a such thing as too much of a good thing. I don't even know if that's how I would put it, too much of a good thing, but yeah, happy Mardi Gras, y'all. I'm gonna try and stick to my Lent plan of no fapping with the phone, and no phone in bed. Basically, go to sleep without looking at the phone is the last thing. And today at work, someone was like, "Well, what's your screen time?" And it didn't have anything to do with my challenge, but it just came up because I probably was bitching about being a slave to my phone. And I checked it, and it was 5.5 hours. And, when he said, "What's your screen time?" it was actually like, yeah, let's check and see what it is. Because now that I know, we can have something to compare it to. Because I was looking through it a little bit, and I don't think there's an option to look at all of your screen time, like as like a monthly calendar or something, or to like look at your screen time from like a week ago, say. But I could definitely be wrong on that. But yeah, 5.5 hours is my screen time. Let's see if we can get it down. I say if I can get it down to 2, I'd feel pretty good about that. And I think realistically, like maybe an hour, down an hour, 4.5. Oh, come on, Aaron, it's so sad. The phones really are robbing us of our life. And then I listened to another Chase Hughes podcast episode. I don't really have a ton to ramble about, but he was just like talking about this theme comes up again and again. Jean Baudrillard did the Simulacra and Simulation. I don't know when he wrote that book, but that came up in my media class in college, and then Chase talked about it too, and he was talking about it like in terms of like authenticity, and like by limiting the amount of simulations you live in, and not even like the digital ones, like he was like the grocery store is a simulation. Yeah, it's just interesting. What really motivated me to want to get outside and be in nature. So who knows? Who knows what he's all about? If he's having like, I don't want to say thoughts of the Matrix, but I don't know if he's having like these perspective kind of paradigm. It's the if he's like kind of what is this, Plato's cave, where it's like we're all just kind of looking at the shadows of things and not their real thing. And if he's like kind of trying to talk in a way about trying to see like the actual figure and not the shadow, I don't know if like the allegory and the yada yada, it's probably all mixed up, sorry guys, but it kind of has me wanting to read Simulacra and Simulation by Jean Baudrillard. But okay, let's go into advice. My boyfriend thinks the moon landing was fake. Bum 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 bum. Out of all the things that I think are fake, I think the moon landing could be fake. You know what? Yeah, at least the person who thinks the moon landing is fake is into it. They're into the moon landing. Like I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this person who doesn't think the moon landing is fake also doesn't give a shit about the moon landing. They're just like, it's real. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to do anything. I mean, coming out of a decade where somebody murdered JFK, coming out of a decade like people are fucking like I don't know if it's the worst of it, but it's like the government's like fucking weird. There's like this weird side of the government. I don't know. With all the CIA experiments and stuff, like the Manson family, like that's all like the late '60s, and then they kind of put the bow on all of the craziness, like the shitty war, the freaking MK Ultra, like the Vietnam War is what I was talking about. I was like, yeah, MK Ultra, the assassination of a president, like to put a bow on the ratchet shit the government was doing, a fake moon landing would be the perfect bow. It's like, and then we did like an ultimate propaganda piece, where we tricked the world and our people and convinced them that we landed on the moon. That's the thing. I guess I gotta go travel, because it's like you're in your own little bubble. Like you get your news. Like what percentage of the news you read could be 100% fake, and you just would have no way of ever knowing if it wasn't. Like you're just taking it on pure trust in like the system. All right, like I don't know a single thing that couldn't not be faked. Like there's like barely any news stories that I was there to verify or have any like first or second hand sources. So I don't know. I'm not gonna be like, it's all fake. You shouldn't believe anything. I think that's when things get a little upside down. Like that's like super ultra postmodern, where it's like, actually I don't know. I did take a class on postmodern. I did take like some of that. Like my degree was like very infested with a lot of like that postmodern leftism, like crappy ideas. So I have been like exposed to them. I can't say I've really thought or talked about them in a while, but out of all the things that were fake, I mean, dude, the moon landing, it looks like shit, dog. I don't know. I have a theory. I have a theory for how we can prove that the moon landing happened. Didn't we leave stuff on the moon? Didn't we leave like a rover on the moon and stuff? It's definitely not on the dark side of the moon, that stuff. I'm pretty sure, like, we know exactly where they landed. We know exactly where that stuff is. We could probably get close enough to look, like, we have satellite. You could zoom in and see a car from a satellite view of Earth. Like, why can't we get close enough to the moon to get like a satellite view of it and see the rover on the moon? See just like a nice picture. It's there. If they went, like, that's what doesn't make sense to me. And aren't there lasers on the moon, or not lasers, reflectors, so that they could do measurements and stuff? Like, I think proving that the moon landing happened, I would love to hear someone say, "Oh no, they can't do that because X, Y, and Z." Just because, as far as like, it's so obvious to me. It's like, just zoom into the moon, just fucking pull up. If the space station goes by the moon, like, you can't time a couple telescopes, point them at the moon, and get a good enough resolution photo. Like, I've seen some pretty awesome pictures of the moon. Like, why is there no, guys, here's the rover that was left on the moon? Like, isn't that sick? 60 years later, like, whoa. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. So until like there's like that like straightforward evidence, and like knowing what we know about just the the ways and the doings of like the most powerful government in the world, like yeah, they could have faked it. And then there's like the Van Allen belt, so it's a radiation belt, and um, I guess there's a lot of people who say that the film. Well, actually, there's people that think people can't even go past that radiation belt, that they haven't found a way to go past the radiation belt, so that's kind of keeping moon landings, keeping them on hold. There's also a weird quote where they say they lost the technology to go on the moon. I've only like actually heard the quote once, and that quote seems like it could be one that's taken out of context, because I feel like I've never heard it in its entire context. But there's like a NASA briefing or interview where they like somehow the moon landing comes up and they say we lost that technology, which makes zero sense. But yeah, back to the radiation belt. So there's a theory that they did film stuff. Well, but wasn't it broadcasted live? I don't know why I think that. I need to find someone who watched the moon landing and like has a pretty good memory of it. If I want to get to the bottom of this, the next 10 episodes is me doing moon shit. But yeah, the theory is that the film would have been damaged through the radiation belt. And okay, maybe that happened, and they were like, well, we really want to have this on film, so they just kind of recreated it because it was destroyed. I had a VHS that was like NASA and the moon, and I might have donated it back to the thrift store. I'm just thinking, because I had this weird phase where there was a couple VHSs and stuff that I just ripped. I like basically digitized them or converted them and recorded them. And I don't think the NASA one was one of it, but I was watching it and I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch this and try and come up with some moon landing fake opinion. But yeah, maybe the tape was damaged when going through the radiation belts, so they did fake the moon landing, but only because the tape was damaged. I don't know why. That's like then we did go to the moon, and then then India went to the moon, and I guess that footage looked really weird. I don't know. That was like such a blip in the radar. They like, I don't know if a man went on moon. A man from India didn't go on the moon, as far as I know, but like some sort of ship or something. Okay, we'll finish. The body of this is really short, and then we'll wrap up. That's most of the problem. I think what bothers me more, though, is when I question him, he tried to make me sound like the crazy one. Am I doomed? I mean, if you can't let this go, you are doomed for sure. I think as far as it goes, it's like, am I doomed to date a stupid person? Am I going to spend the rest of my life arguing over the moon landing? No, break up with him. You're not fucking doomed. You're fine. You're a winner. You're a keeper. Him being swayed by morons on the internet to not trust official government narratives. He's the troublemaker. He's the bad guy. He's making you feel crazy, which is a little like, come on, man. Like I was saying earlier, like how many news stories are there that could be completely fabricated and I would have no way of knowing, and you just kind of take them off 100% trust and faith in the system. A lot of them. And frankly, the moon landing that happened 60 years ago is also one of them. So to be so convinced either way, I'm skeptical, but I'm telling you right now, I could 100% be swayed that the moon landing did happen. But after kind of, I don't know, like the loss of my innocence, I don't know, like after just watching how the government acts and trying to be objective about it, It's like, I want to put it past them to do this big, awesome propaganda push. But who knows? It does make sense that we would go to the moon, like just with the way rocket technology seemed to be developing at that time. So and then I kind of build them a bit of a golden bridge by saying, like, yeah, you did fake it, but you only faked it because the real thing got damaged. So you wouldn't have faked it if you didn't have to. I don't know why I give them that golden bridge to admit to faking it, but still let them have the accomplishment of going to the moon. Faking the moon landing, you know what sucks about this? Is it's definitely the tip of the iceberg. If you're pretty like adamant and being mean to people and treating them like, gaslighting them for questioning your belief or your like conviction on the fact that we didn't go to the moon, or on the possibility that we didn't go to the moon. Like if you're like gaslighting people over if we went to the moon or not, because you're so convinced that we didn't, then you're probably pretty into this stuff. It's one thing to watch a video and be like, those are some interesting perspectives. I don't know how to answer that. And then kind of go about your life. But it's one thing to be like, it is fake, I know. And just when you're like that, like odds are it's like, it's a slippery slope, as they say, to other crazier conspiracies. So I would say this is a good litmus test to see how cooked your boyfriend is. And if it seems like the moon landing is something that he's willing to gaslight you over and shit, and not have any like skepticism or humility in the fact that like there probably is like something that could be shown to prove that they did go. Like if there's no open-mindedness to be swayed otherwise with good evidence, and he's just like, it was fake. Like how, like, duh. Like he figured it out. Like it's like so obvious. That's probably not good. So this is a good little test. You can see what level of cooked he is. And if he's too cooked for you, bye-bye. Shoot his ass to the moon. But he'll never get there, will he? Because we can't. Because the radiation belt. And Buzz Aldrin looked pretty sad after going to the moon, didn't he? Is that because the government was forcing him to keep his secret from the people? Is that because he was just a pawn in the CIA? Space Nazis. American space Nazis. It is wild. The world we live in. But okay, I said it was going to be a short episode and it's not. So sorry about that. Dump that loser. Send his ass to the moon. Get yourself a nice official narrative believing boyfriend that you don't have to discuss anything, even if it's something that happened 60 years ago and has really no impact on your life. But it's like a little earth shattering, or it's like a little like you really gotta think, oh shit, they fucking lied to us about like this huge accomplishment. It's not a good look if they did. Hard pill to swallow. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Cast Me Outside. It's been a lot of fun, but we're done. Gotta run. Thank you this time for your time. And until next time, keep on living and loving. Peace.